Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live, the program for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. Great show lined up for you today. How are you doing, by the way? Had a good week so far? Here we are, it's Monday, we're completely live. We've got a great show lined up for you. On today's show, we're going to be discussing new and upcoming changes to LinkedIn. There's a lot going on LinkedIn at the moment since it's been bought by Microsoft. Now, a lot of people are saying that, of course, LinkedIn is going to develop all the time, and many of the new developments that we're going to see initially are actually going to be things that were probably in development when it was just, in inverted commas, LinkedIn on its own. But since being purchased by Microsoft and they paid a small fortune for it, there are a few changes out there. For instance, I think if you're a premium owner, some of the features that you currently have today are going to change ever so slightly. We'll be looking at some of the new things that are just around the corner when it comes to LinkedIn in just a moment. And the guy that's going to be leading us through this brand new LinkedIn maze today is our LinkedIn expert of note and an old friend to the programme. It's Steve Mills, the prudent marketeer. Steve, wonderful to have you back on the show today.
It's fantastic to be here, Steve, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, as always, I think what's so wonderful about what you bring is that you kind of bring a business approach to the features that are out there, and I think that's why we enjoy having you on the programme so much. For those people that know nothing about Steve Mills, the prudent marketeer, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay. Well, I've spent over 25 years now working with small businesses, helping them to improve. We really do three things. We train people, we mentor people, and we offer what we call a done-for-you service, which is all about helping small businesses with an area of their business that is really the most difficult part, and one of the biggest problems that small businesses have is the marketing of that business, and that's what we help with.
It is business creation. Everybody wants business creation, but they want it in the most painless possible way. And I suppose while LinkedIn, the primary subject today, while LinkedIn was set up as a recruitment platform, people are now using it predominantly, I would imagine, nearly for business-to-business development.
I think so, yeah. I mean, you know, if you think about what LinkedIn is right now, it's 450 million people, which are pretty much business or senior management people connected worldwide, and it is the biggest business-to-business database in the world, and it's just a matter of how you actually use it, because I think one of the biggest problems that I see, you know, working with thousands of small businesses, as I have done over many, many years, it's not that they're doing the wrong marketing, it's that they're doing the right marketing wrong. And so people typically tell me, you know, well, I'm on LinkedIn, but no, I don't really do very much. I occasionally get people asking me to connect, and I never know whether to connect to them or not. And, you know, I post a little bit of stuff out, but to be honest, Steve, I don't really know how to use it. And I think that's almost the case right across the board with many business owners in many areas of your marketing, whether we're talking about LinkedIn, Facebook, pay-per-click advertising, SEO, whatever it was, that is often the case. It's that they're doing the right marketing in the wrong way.
Do you think that 80% of the people that are using LinkedIn, Facebook and all the other social media platforms, as you just said, are doing something, but they're only really scratching the surface of the true potential, what they can get out of it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Most people on LinkedIn are not really doing very much at all, that's the truth.
I'm going to be a bit naughty because I'm going to ask you a question that you weren't expecting, but
okay.
You use Infusionsoft,
I do.
Easy for me to say, Infusionsoft, or Confusionsoft as it likes to be called,
Indeed,
for your marketing.
Yeah.
So does it need to be time-consuming and a complicated process and system to maximise your return when it comes to the likes of LinkedIn, do you think?
Well, I think, when I started, Steve, 25 years ago, marketing was fairly simple. You did direct mail and you bought the most expensive Yellow Pages advert you could, and it was fairly, simple compared with today. It's highly complex. There's a lot to it. And, I actually think it's almost a full-time job keeping up with things. And, there's so much to do, and it must be very difficult. If you're a business owner that's busy, doing the work, serving customers, dealing with the finances, to then be able to go and spend time understanding LinkedIn and the latest technology that's there, it's not quite a full-time job, but it's almost. So, yes, I do think it's very complicated.
If you were
complex.
talking to a business owner today,
yeah,
and you were saying, look, divide your time between this, and this. Your time, for instance, your business, you train, you instruct, you highlight, and then you're obviously marketing as well, because we get marketing emails and we get all of that going on. What's your kind of split?
In terms of time, I probably spend about half an hour to an hour on LinkedIn most days. So that's a sort of key part of what we're doing.
So in the course of a week, you're doing a day?
Yeah. As far as Infusionsoft's concerned, it's probably a similar amount of time. So as far as our marketing's, our own internal marketing's concerned, they're the two big things that we do. We obviously do SEO and spending quite a bit on sort of pay-per-click advertising and stuff like that. But the real, going back years, it was a matter of how much money are you going to invest in your marketing. Now you can still invest money, but it's really about how much time are you going to invest in your marketing. LinkedIn, most of what happens on LinkedIn is about the time on LinkedIn and not necessarily the money that you invest, although there are, with the new strategies that I'm going to be discussing later, there are a few new things that do cost money on LinkedIn.
All right. Now, I kind of alluded to the fact that LinkedIn is changing. Is it changing a lot? Would you be able to recognise it if you are a member at the moment? I'm a premium member. A premium member last year. By the summer of this year, will they recognise the same place?
That's a good question. Probably yes, but it will be significantly different. Because they've got 450 million members, they're at the moment, for example, they're rolling out a new profile. And so the profile that people have got now may not be the profile that you're going to have tomorrow. They've started to roll this out, so people are gradually getting onto the new profile. Are you on the new profile? I'm not actually on it yet. No. I'm normally because I'm very, very active. They regard me as pretty active member, and so I get things first, but even I've not got that yet. No.
All right, so where are we going to kick off today then? So we're going to be looking at a piece of software that you're going to be talking about later on, about which in conjunction with LinkedIn will allow you to maybe market a bit more effectively when it comes to identifying who visits your website. What about in-mail marketing system? Because it looks like LinkedIn, we'll kick off, we'll stay with LinkedIn initially.
Yeah.
It seems that LinkedIn are introducing more new features. This must be under the influence of Microsoft.
Yeah, you would think so. Microsoft have got to be I assume that Microsoft are going to be a really positive effect on LinkedIn. The technology and the expertise that clearly they've got are going to, I believe, help LinkedIn to sort of modernise itself, really, because if you compared LinkedIn with something like, say, Facebook, Facebook's more advanced than LinkedIn even. They've had, some of these new things I'm going to talk about today, Facebook's had for ages. And yet I hear so many business owners say to me, well, I understand marketing myself on LinkedIn, Steve, but Facebook, that's not for business. Twitter, I just don't get. And the truth of the matter is, Steve, that, those two sites are fantastic for business. But as I said a few minutes ago, if you don't understand them, then you're going to finish up marketing 1/10 of your true capability.
In 2 minutes or maybe 90 seconds, fundamentally, what are the biggest mistakes that people who are coming to LinkedIn new for the first time make?
Biggest mistakes they currently make. I'd say probably the biggest one is a lack of activity. They sign themselves up and that is it. They don't do anything. So that would be one. The second one I'd say would be they don't get their profile looking as good as it could. If you think about your profile on LinkedIn, that's like your website on LinkedIn, and yet we see awful pictures, very little text, no summary, no videos, no marketing materials, loads and loads of things that they could do that they don't do. And often that's because they don't actually realise that you can take a video and upload it onto your LinkedIn profile. Why wouldn't you do that?
It was interesting because I was looking at my brother's profile yesterday, and it's shocking. And he's used a picture of himself with the children. So that's really businesslike, isn't it? Yeah. When you read the words that he's got explaining what his responsibilities have been with the organisations he's worked for, it's a very impressive read. But the first impression is nearly amateurish in the way that the heading is all lowercase. He doesn't even capitalise his own name. And he has this arbitrary title of the last job he was at, which means nothing to anybody. And I've got to have a word with him, a serious word about updating his LinkedIn. And really, he should know better, so he'll get a bit of a slap for that. And maybe, if nothing else comes out today, if you learn nothing else about what we're talking about today, at least go back and look at your profile, examine your profile. Remember, as Steve has just said, this is your personal website. This is your presence on one of the largest business-to-business websites in the world. And what are you doing with it? Are you throwing the opportunity away? Are you... is it really just no more than a summary of your life at the moment or your business life at the moment? Could it be a little bit more than that? Should it be more than that? Definitely it should be. Listen, we've got more to come. We're going to be talking about the new features in LinkedIn with Steve Mills, the prudent marketeer, in just a few moments' time on Business Connections Live. You know, it's lovely to have you with us. We're a little bit late today, running around. I was down the doctors. I couldn't believe it. Everyone's talking about the National Health Service at the moment. You phone up your doctors, you wait 4 weeks. I phoned up the doctors this morning and said, well, can you come now? Actually, they say, can you come at 11:20? And I said, can't come at 11:20. But what about right now, 20 to 11? I thought, well, you know, if you can fit me in, I will. So off I trotted and then waited 40 minutes. But do you know what? Fantastic, and a great doctor as well. So, you know, big thumbs up actually to the way the local health clinic actually sorted me out today, so thank you very much indeed for that. Really do appreciate it, and it just makes a change to be saying something nice about the NHS and the way the system, or to say something nice about anybody. I've just been told it makes a pleasant change. You know, I may start doing that on a more regular basis because it makes me feel warm and cuddly and fuzzy inside. You're watching Business Connections Live. It's great to have your company today. We are talking about all things that are new in LinkedIn. We're going to get down to the nitty-gritty in just a few moments' time. But before that, let's look back at what happened on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. We had Polly Buckland. She joined us. She's from the Typeface Group Limited, and she's the managing director there. And we were talking about everything from SEOing all the way through to what you should be thinking about when you start blogging. Should you have a schedule in mind? Should you be researching what you need to be blogging about? How do you get your SEO to work for you? How do you increase the footfall to your website? In other words, how do you market yourself better using your existing website and press and PR? Great show. If you missed the show last week, I suggest you watch the entire program. It was an absolute fascinating insight into what you could achieve if you get it right. If you did miss it, well, why don't I give you a bit of a tease of it right now? Here's Polly Buckland from last week's edition of Business Connections Live. Today we're going to be discussing a whistle-stop tour of the key elements that need to be considered if you want your website to work for you. Now, we all want that, don't we? But how do you go about doing it? What are the key things that you should be considering when it comes to, dare I say, the words SEOing your website? To explain all and reveal all to us today in the studio is Polly Buckland. She's the Managing Director of Typeface Marketing.
There's what's called black hat SEO, which is what used to work in the olden days, which will now actually...
This is the naughty stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, negatively impact the profile of your website. And then there's a white hat SEO, which we like to practice. But the landscape is totally changing now with regards to how to optimise your website. So it's one of the main things that we hear from clients that come to us that may already have a website in existence, saying, I spent X thousand pounds on this website and it's doing nothing for us, it's generating no leads. And then we look at it, there's no blog, or the blog's not been updated for 18 months, there's no social media activity going on behind it, and we'll do an SEO audit and we'll very soon find that actually that website's no longer responsive, mobile friendly. The biggest mistake that people make is they pay for a website, then they put no resource, time, budget into that website once it goes live, and in a year's time they expect it to be producing results for them. Lots of people have analytics on their website. A surprising number of people come to us and say, I've got it, but I never look at the report, or I just don't look at it because I don't know what I'm looking for. I think more and more people are looking at data. We went to Social Media London Expo at the end of last year, and there was a whole module on data analysis for social media, data analysis for your website, and there are people that are employed within big corporates and that's all they do. It's trying to filter down the importance of that to the SMEs, and educating them in bite-sized chunks as to how those analytics and having a good understanding of those analytics can help them progress their website. Any client that we're starting to work with, whether it be for web copy, blogging, social media activity, we get them to fill out a copy brief, and we sit with them and we ask them probing questions about their brand, about the tone they want us to use. If their brand or company was a person, who would it be? They need to understand first as a business what this personality needs to be before engaging with an agency to talk on their behalf. And from that kind of generally probes enough, because we're talking with a business owner that has this idea of their business all in their head, and they don't necessarily ever write it down on paper and see it in black and white. So the foundation is get some good keyword research under your belt, and write a blog schedule for that. So what we do is, so it becomes more achievable for businesses, we do a keyword analysis, then we put it into a schedule. So we say, for the next 3 months, this is what your blog schedule will look like. So you know that you will be consistently putting out relevant content onto your website that's useful to your clients, that ticks boxes for Google, and ultimately gives you unique content to share via your social media networks as well. What you can also consider is, you've probably got case studies sat in your business somewhere that aren't being used. Make them into a blog post. Create a profile of recent work that you've done. Make that into a blog post. Find a strong keyword to underpin it with. Use a blogging guide such as ours. There's going to be loads out there to show you how to optimise your content. Always a mixture of, if you can, image, text, video is excellent. Having a combination of all those things will give you the strongest content. Anything that you can pull out of that, so there are all sorts of plugins now where if you're quoting a stat, or if there's a particularly strong quote in there, you can pull it out as a tweetable piece of content, so people can literally click straight from your blog post and tweet it directly to their audience. I'm Polly Buckland, I'm Managing Director of the Typeface Group Limited, and the key takeaways for me really are: look at your Google Analytics, understand how your website is performing before you invest any more time and energy into it, and then when you do so with a plan. So have a decent keyword analysis, understand what your users are looking for, make sure that you make it easy to read for them and easy to find. Have a mixture of text, image and video on your website, and make sure that it's all mobile friendly, otherwise you're not going to get found.
It's a really interesting show. I do find myself sitting here some weeks just scribbling down some great information, as I have been this week. And I think that's what's so wonderful. There's over 200 hours of free business advice. If you're a business owner, you need to be watching these programs each and every week. Also, if you are a business expert, well, why don't you talk to us, and maybe we can put together a package and get you on the program so that we can find out and take all your knowledge and share it with everybody. I think there was somebody that I used to work with, and he said, you know, you can share all this information, even if you're in business. You can really share business critical information with everybody, the masses. You can tell people exactly how you became a success in business, exactly how you made your money, exactly how you went through your development process. And people will listen and go, that was really good, and they'll still do nothing with that information. So if you do have information, maybe one person in 1,000 will actually do something about it. It's very interesting. And let's face it, the currency today in business is data and information. So if you want to trade some of that, let us know. If you'd like a program, by the way, like this one, you can. All you've got to do is contact us here at Business Connections Live. We can brand it for your business if you wish. And here comes the details. If you want to, you can drop us an email to studio@businessconnectionslive.com, dead easy. Or if you want to have a chat with myself or Linda Bazan, 01784 256 777 is our telephone number. You can follow our stream of consciousness, of course, at BCL Business TV on the Twitter. You can go to our Facebook page as well and watch the program there. Again, lots of response to video on Facebook with the Facebook Live. Brilliant resource. The thing that I would say we're not putting any call to action on at the moment, but we just wanted to establish the technology. But the engagement is phenomenal. So if you're a business and you're not using Facebook in the right context, it really works. Listen, get in touch with us, and maybe we could be working together. You can also go, of course, to our primary website, which is businessconnectionslive.com. We'd love you to visit there. And don't forget, link in with us as well. Link in with myself, Steve Highland, the Silver Fox, or... There's nothing to laugh about. Move away if you don't mind. Sorry. From your laptop. And or Linda Bazan as well. And you'll find Linda and myself both on LinkedIn. So please do link in with us. We'd love to hear from you there as well and share information. You're watching Business Connections Live. Today's show, we're discussing new and upcoming changes to LinkedIn. There are a few of the changes that we were hoping to tell you about. One of them being retargeting, which is a big tease from Microsoft at the moment. It hasn't quite landed yet, but it is well and truly on its way. But the other big change at the moment, or the other big piece of news, is the sponsored InMail. Now, we kind of alluded to it last week on the programme. Steve Mills, the prudent marketeer, with us today in the studio. Sponsored InMail. Now, we're all familiar with InMail. It's when you become a premium user of LinkedIn, you can actually you have an allocation of InMails that you can send on, don't you?
That's correct, yeah.
So how's it changing, Steve?
Well, the allocation of InMails is very, very small. So I'm a premium member and I get something like 10 emails or InMails that I can send out to people who I don't know on LinkedIn. And I don't need to know their email address in order to deliver an InMail through LinkedIn into their email address. Now, the new strategy is far bigger than that. What LinkedIn allows us to do now is to send out an InMail or a series of InMails to a given target market. So, for example, I could say to LinkedIn, I want to target accountants in London who work for businesses, let's say, employing more than 50 people, who have the job title of partner or managing director, who are a particular age or male or female or whatever I want to do. In other words, I can be very specific in terms of who I want to receive my InMails, and LinkedIn will just churn InMails out to those people on a daily basis. So I set up a daily budget, and LinkedIn will spend that budget every day sending out InMails to people, and I keep that going as long as I want. So it's a way of really delivering what is essentially an email, but it's an in-mail because it's through LinkedIn. But I can do that to, I don't have to be connected to them, I don't need to know them, but I can send them an in-mail through LinkedIn.
Is this going to be a bit like the pay-per-click, because you would end up, depending on the popularity or the particular segment you were going after, it would become more and more expensive. Now, this is comparatively new at the moment, so I would imagine that they're promoting this to get it rocking and rolling and working.
Indeed. So
now's a good time if you're going to be trying it at all, I would imagine. But could it be expensive?
Well, it is. It is fairly expensive. Certainly, already, yeah. It's certainly not cheap. It costs approximately 50p per email to send. So, that's a reasonable amount of money. Obviously, dependent on who you're targeting, depends how much you have to spend. So, for example, sending an email out to chief executive officers of businesses employing, let's say, 1,000 people is going to be more expensive than targeting a window cleaner in Basingstoke. Yeah, it's going to be more expensive. So it really depends on who you're targeting and what level of people you're targeting.
All right, so let's get into the process of doing this, and let's see. You said sponsored. So when you say sponsored, what do you mean by that? That isn't a third party. It is effectively you sponsoring the in-mail, are you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're virtually paying for LinkedIn to send that email out to those people, and you can do it by having a budget. So you're willing to spend £300, or you could divide that into a series of an investment of £20, £30 a day. So LinkedIn send the appropriate, if it's £30 a day at 50p an email, they send out 60 emails today, and then 60 tomorrow, and 60 the day after, and so on and so forth.
All right, shall we get into the nitty-gritty and actually see how we get to this? If you are a LinkedIn user, you're going to recognise some of the screens that come up here. So let's jump in to Steve's profile and see what we've got. So we're on your profile right now, Steve.
Okay, so what I've done is I've set up my profile just so I can show listeners exactly where you need to go. So what you have to do is up here is to click on the advertise button. There's then a couple of screens that you go through which are pretty sort of obvious. So what I've done in good old-fashioned Blue Peter style, I've already got through to the advert. So you just follow the sequence through. It's very, very easy. And this is where you come to the three different options of advertising or in-mailing on LinkedIn. The first one allows me to insert an advert in the news feed of my LinkedIn contacts feed. So I can say to LinkedIn, insert this feed into accountants in London who are this type of people, and so they see the advert in there. The other thing I could do is I can advertise on the right-hand side. This is you've probably seen on LinkedIn the adverts that appear down the right-hand side of the advert, so you can see that. Now the third one, which is the one I'm going to show you today, is this sponsored in-mail. Okay, right. So what I'm going to do is select that. It always logs me out, so I need to log back in. Whenever you go into the paid side of LinkedIn, it will log you out. So the first thing I'm going to do is call it something, so I'll just call it the Feb campaign. I then go through to the next stage. This is where you decide who's going to actually send out this email. So if I'd got several people working for me, which I have, and I wanted it to go out to from a particular person and not myself, I could alter that, but I don't, so that's fine. So again, we'll just put that Feb and use the word Steve so we know who that's going out from. Next thing then is the subject line, and we all know in email marketing how important that the subject line is. As the old saying in advertising is that the headline is the advert for the advert. So we need a really good subject line.
Do you have a technique for putting your subject lines together?
I've actually produced a load of what I call effective headlines. So if anybody wants one, if you want to email me at steve@theprudentmarketer, I'll send you it's something like 100, proven headlines. Just to give, listeners some thoughts. I love questions. Questioning headlines are really good. And I also love headlines where people are not quite sure what it is. So a headline like, I sometimes email my current clients, "You need to take a look at this." Now, if you get that email from somebody that you know, there's a pretty good chance you're going to open that email. So, try and create some sort of,
mystery.
Mystery. Yeah, what's this about? I don't quite understand. So for now, I'm just going to use the word "a great headline." Yes,
a great headline.
A great headline there. Okay.
That is a great headline. That great headline.
Either more, some great text. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So we've got that there. The next thing we can do. And again, I can't stress with email marketing how important this is the words. Now, LinkedIn InMail allow me to do this. They now allow me to go, "Hi," and then just insert a custom field here of that person's name. How cool is that?
So this is effectively a CRM system, isn't it? So it's built in.
Yeah.
So is there an advantage then of using their CRM system, this customer relationship manager,
Steve,
as opposed to, in your case, Infusionsoft? We use InTouch CRM.
Yeah.
Is there or at least we try to, is there a benefit to going away from your existing CRM, or is this used in conjunction with it?
Okay, yes, the latter. There's no benefit in stopping using your email marketing system and using this one, but what there is a benefit of is using them both together. What this allows you to do, people often say to me, where can I get the best database, Steve? Where can I go and buy a database? And there are loads of companies out there, these database, sellers, they'll sell you a database. But the problem with that often is, I'll give you an example. With Infusionsoft don't like you going and buying a database and then importing it into Infusionsoft, because they've not opted in. And they've certainly not double opted in, which is what you really want them to do. So you're uploading a database of people who don't necessarily want to hear from you, the old spamming thing.
Well, the thing, of course, is there are new regulations that are going to be implemented very shortly. You may have heard the letters banded around: GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations. If you want to find out more about that, we have done a program looking at GDPR with Linda Bazant, and also Linda as well is I've just been told it comes in May 25th of May 2018 it comes in, but you've really got to be prepared for that. If you have a database at the moment, GDPR will catch you out, and they are already promising that if your database is not a proper database, doesn't have the quality of it, and is not compliant, they will actually come around, and what they will do, they will fine you, and they're going to fine you from day one. Linda, I was just about to ask Linda what the maximum fine was going to be. She's just whispered in my ear, if you get this bit wrong, it could cost your business, your organisation, up to 20 million euros.
Wow.
20 million euros.
You don't want to get that wrong, mate.
You don't want to get that wrong then, do you? So, that's a little bit more than you earn, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
So be aware of that. GDPR. It's coming, it's around the corner. If you are importing databases, be aware. Right, sorry, Steve, I interrupted.
No, okay.
I was on a hobby horse there.
That's okay, important information. So the next thing, obviously, is the words that you're going to use. There's two theories here. One is about, having lots of content and writing, everything that people need to know in order to decide whether this is of value to them. So if I was selling, laptop computers, it's going to have all the details on there, everything that I need to know in order to make a buying decision. My thought, my belief is, what do I really want? I want people to be interested, and I want to know if they're interested. So keep it short, add teaser copy, and tell people where to go in order to get further information. So I may have loads of information here, great text there about what to do, and then all I'm going to do is just click here, set up a really simple sort of hyperlink to my website there, which you can see with my wonderful website that you created. Sorry, my wonderful video. Apologies, Steve, which you created on there. And then just use that little link there to create a simple hyperlink that goes back to my web page.
All right, so where we are then in the process, we've got in, we've written our email.
We've got this great email.
And I think one of the rules that I use when I'm writing any email like that, proposition, resolution, call to action.
Yeah.
And if you can get a testimonial in there as well, that's also
perfect.
That's good too.
Yeah.
So we've done that. We've now sent our recipient, if they click on the link, off to what we call in the trade a landing page. We'll talk about landing pages then, where we send them in just a moment. So that's where we're up to at the moment. My guest on today's show is Steve Mills, the Prudent Marketeer. We're looking at the sponsored in-mail that's available on LinkedIn today and how you can put the process together on doing that. Still more to come in just a few moments' time. You're watching Business Connections Live. It's great to have your company as always on a Monday live. Don't forget, if you've got any comments, if you've got a question for Steve on the programme today, well, why don't you just tweet it to us. That'd be good. Yeah, do a tweet to us right now, and we'll get the question to Steve as we're talking. Now, October 2016, we had Nikki Creel on the program. She was talking about conversions. Sorry, not converting conversions. That'd be ridiculous. She was talking about converting conversations to customers. She's written a book. The book is fantastic. I have read it cover to cover twice now. I even though we had a free copy of it here, I bought it, downloaded it on to my the Kindle, and I read it on there cover to cover in one sitting. It's a great book. She looks at how to use Facebook, how to use LinkedIn. It's a terrific book. Probably going to have a revision to it very shortly, I would imagine. Just to give you some of the key points that she brought up in the program, just have a quick look at this with Nikki Creel.
Hi, I'm Nikki Creel, social media coach, trainer and author of How to... I was going to say, I'm so used to saying my how to Twitter for business success. Converting conversations to customers. I really think it's important to build one-to-one relationships with people, and don't forget that human relationships are where your business is, and it's forming that bond. And what I'd really like people to do is to work out show people how to do it using social media as a tool. So that they can actually grow their business through building relationships that are profitable.
Nikki's done a couple of programs for us, and all of them are really interesting. If you're new to using Twitter in your business, she started off as an NLP practitioner, and she wanted to increase her business, and she started using Twitter. First of all, a bit of a downer. It just didn't work for her, and then she reapproached it. She re-looked at it, and she realised what she was doing wrong. And I think that's probably the story that a lot of people have, not only just with the likes of Twitter and Facebook, but probably even with the likes of LinkedIn as well. You look at something, you have that initial spurt of activity, and then you find yourself, well, you're not getting any instant response to it. But there are professional ways of doing things. My guest on today's show is Steve Mills, the Prudent Marketeer. You're watching Business Connections Live. It's lovely to have your company. We are absolutely live today on the programme. Okay, we've gone through the process, Steve, of where we go to get the email, and you've very kindly offered that you will give us a downloadable document that will show us some of the headlines potentially that we should use. Yeah. We're going to come back. So writing the actual content of the email is paramount, though, to this. It
absolutely is.
If you don't get that right, people will switch away. Yeah. Do you think people too blatantly will come back on LinkedIn trying to sell?
I think so, yeah. I mean, you know, it's like I mentioned right at the beginning of today, it's not that you're doing the wrong marketing, it's that you're doing the right marketing wrong. So if you're being too salesy, you know, you're sending out emails to people who don't know you, they don't necessarily like you because you've interrupted their day, and there's zero trust there. So you've got to establish that within your email, and it may take more than one email to get people to a level where they go from not knowing you, never heard of you, don't even know your product or service, to a level where they buy from you. And people try to skip that. They just, you know, I get emails from people that selling me cars. I seem to get a lot at the moment trying to sell me cars. I'm not interested in buying a car. I don't know that company. They've no idea what sort of car I want. And they're just churning out emails every day to me, trying to sell cars to people who are not interested in buying cars.
And why would you want to replace that Bentley anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not to mention the Ferrari.
And the Ferrari. But if we look very briefly, then, is there a sequence in your mind's eye that people should go through if you are trying to communicate? Because ultimately, we are contacting people, we are connecting with them to get business.
Absolutely.
So, it's the first thing that you do is that you butter up them personally by saying how great a post was, or how wonderful that the interesting article, share something with them. Is it that you have to do initially? You
could certainly do that through LinkedIn. That would definitely, by helping other people and commenting, people tend to come back. But this particular strategy we're talking about now wouldn't necessarily be done in that way.
So could this be more blatantly sales then?
It could be, but I'd suggest that it should be nurturing. So, for example, I may send an email out to a target market. I use the example of accountants in London, and they don't know me. And so if I tried to sell them a place on one of my, for example, LinkedIn workshops, they may be interested, but the fact that they don't know me yet is probably going to reduce the amount of inquiries and sales that I get. So wouldn't it be better to send them to a web page, a landing page, if you will, that's got a video with me talking about how to use LinkedIn on it? So I can demonstrate that I really know and understand my subject to a level where they think, this guy can really help our business. And so I don't just go, for the jugular and, I'm running a seminar on this date, this is how much it costs, go and buy here. But I nurture people through maybe a video, maybe some testimonials, maybe some information, and it might take 2 or 3 or 4 or half a dozen emails before I ever go to a level where I'm saying, buy this now.
Are you always putting in a call to action where if they at that point want to either purchase or to continue, there is an opportunity for them to do so?
Absolutely, yeah. Most of my emails are information based, and on the end of it there's a so I might do an email out with the 3 most important things that you need to do on LinkedIn. And then on the end, and if you want to know more, you might want to come along to my workshop. So I'll have all the details about what they need to do, and then the little sales thing on the end.
What about the landing page itself? Are there any tips or tricks that you would suggest? Do you think businesses use landing pages enough?
I don't know. I think they tend to. I think one of the biggest mistakes with email marketing is sending somebody to your homepage.
I suppose we should really explain what a landing page is.
Yeah, okay. Well, a landing page is a page that you're going to use for a particular campaign, so that when they click on the click here button that I just did a few moments ago, that will send them to that particular page. So it's very, very relevant to those people. Now, again, one of the big mistakes that I believe, and I'm not just saying that because I'm here with you, Steve, is lack of a video on that page. You and I could be so much more persuasive in video than we ever can in a load of words. So, things like really good headline, a great video, good use of pictures, good, simple to understand text, maybe some nice bullets going down there, a strong call to action, testimonials, all those things go to, sending out emails is great. Getting people to open the emails is another matter. Getting people to click through to that landing page is sort of step 3. And when they're there, you've got to create that sale or that inquiry at least. So again, out of all the things that people do in email marketing, I would say to you, Steve, that one of the biggest mistakes is having a poor landing page.
All right, so we've set up our sponsored InMail.
Yep.
We've put together some compelling headlines and summaries and text. We've driven them to a landing page, which incidentally should only have one thing on it. It should one decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't give them choice.
Really
if somebody goes to your landing page, it is one choice and one choice only.
Most wanted action, I call it. Having one thing to do. Don't do all these different things. It just confuses people. So keep it simple.
One of the other criticisms a lot of people seem to do when they do any form of this kind of email marketing, there is that they're weak on the follow-up.
Yeah.
What are you trying to achieve at the landing page? Is it to capture more information from them or to drive them somewhere else? Because we've already, if you're doing your sponsored InMail, are you aware of who your InMails have been sent to?
Well,
do LinkedIn come back and go, we've sent all these InMails today to these people?
Yes. You don't get to know specifically who they are, but if you've got the technology set up correctly, and you can do one of two things. One, if somebody's clicked through on that email, LinkedIn will tell you, and it will tell you who they are. Right. So if it goes out to, let's say, 100 people a day, out of that 100, 10 people click through on the email, you'll get a list of those 10 people. So got to get on that phone.
Yeah.
Using the old-fashioned, go and speak to people or send them another email, but I'd say speak to them on the phone and follow them up. Now, there is also technology around now that enables me to see who has visited my website in terms of the name of the company that's visited my website. We've actually co-developed something right now, and so we've got that. People can buy that from us. We can buy it from other people as well. That I'm not here to promote that, but what I am here to promote is that this technology is available. So you get to know a list in real time of everybody who's been to your website today.
Wow.
And what we strongly recommend is that you use that to then go on to LinkedIn and identify the specific people that have potentially been to your website. So we know the name of the company. So I know somebody from Business Connections Live has been to my website today. I go onto LinkedIn, I type in Business Connections Live, I get a list of people who work for that company, and I could hazard a guess as to who that might be.
Can we see this?
I've not actually got that set up, Steve. I'm sorry, I do apologise. No, I've not got that.
I was just thinking there for a moment. That would be, and if they want more details on that, I mean, this sounds like it's an ad now, doesn't it? But if they want more details, if you go to our website, Business Connections Live, all the downloadable links or all the links to take you to Steve's website with information on there will all be there for you. So
yeah,
go to.
If you want to drop me an email again, I'm more than happy to send a video showing listeners exactly how to do that.
Really interesting.
How that works.
Okay, so that's one other thing. Now, the next thing that is coming downstream, and we've only got a few seconds on this part of the programme, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment, is remarketing. Now, we've talked about remarketing. You mentioned it when you were on the Christmas programme with us before. Or retargeting ads, not remarketing, retargeting ads. This is something currently that Google have been doing since God was a lad. You go onto a website, and you pick up a cookie on that site, and then all of a sudden somebody, I mean, you use that a lot, don't you?
I use it all the time, yeah.
You follow me around all over the place,
Yeah,
so I'm kind of worried about you.
On my computer right now, I've
Let's
got
have a look.
a demonstration of that.
Let's have a look.
Last
There we
night
go.
I was looking at bulldogs. I love bulldogs, and I'm thinking of buying a bulldog.
Right.
So I went on to this website here, and I saw that little fella there, and I thought, that's fantastic. And lo and behold, is my advert above it. So that is remarketing through Google Partners, and Google basically placed that advert onto that website because I have visited my website. So this is advertising on Google to people who have visited your website. In other words, people who are interested in the Prudent Marketer at some level. Okay, so this is a fantastic way of marketing that not one in 20 business owners is using yet. It just blows me away, to be honest.
But from a budgetary point of view, you look at that and you think it must be costing an absolute arm and a leg. We're talking here with LinkedIn, with their sponsored email. You gave an estimate around about 50p per email. For that to be displayed on that page, are you paying for it to be displayed, or are you only paying when it's clicked through?
I'm the prudent marketer, Steve. I don't like spending money. So the answer is no. That costs me nothing until and unless somebody clicks on that Learn More button there. And then I would pay around about 5p, maybe 10p.
So the ROI on that is actually very low.
It's fantastic. And it's advertising to people who are interested in you. They've been to my website, they've had a look round, they've disappeared off, they've gone on to one of Google's 2.5 million partner sites and found my advert on many of them, and their sites including sort of like eBay and the Times newspaper and almost you name it. There's 2.5 million major websites that my advert will be found on. Obviously YouTube and so on and so forth. And this is now what LinkedIn are doing. They're not doing it yet, unfortunately, but my information is this is going to be launched in the first quarter of this year. And it's going to enable people who visited my website, when they go on to LinkedIn, which most of them will be on, they'll see my advert.
All right, we'll talk more to Steve in just a few moments' time about some of the other things that are just down the line as well. And listen, I hope you found today's programme helpful as well. You're watching Business Connections Live. And the nice thing about today's show, I suppose, yes, we can talk about the technology, and we're all using LinkedIn, and the program has been promoted as what's new and what's coming down the line. Those two key important things that are coming down the line, that sponsored email that is here, the remarketing or the retargeting of ads is also going to be important too. Are you in a position to talk about some of the things that people are losing on their premium accounts? Are you in a position to talk about that today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
we'll talk about that then in just a moment, because premium is changing at the moment. If you're a premium user, what's it, £47, something like that we're paying off to a little Dublin account somewhere, and they're making a fortune out of us. Are we using it? Probably could you get away in many instances with having a free account, not using premium at all? What do you get with premium? Questions, eh? Listen, we'll talk more about that in just a few moments' time. Can I ask you a favour, big favour? We're getting lots of response. This has been incredible. iTunes, the program is loaded to iTunes each and every week. From iTunes it goes, well, in fact, we use Libsyn as our distribution platform, so thank you very much to the boys and girls to Libsyn for doing that for us. So Libsyn, we distribute the program. It goes out on Stitcher, it goes out on Blueberry, and it also goes out on iTunes. I was going through the stats, the analytics from iTunes the other day, and it just blew me away. I cannot believe the number of downloads the program is getting on iTunes, but we could always do better. Thousands of people are downloading this program on a weekly basis to get the latest on to improve their business and to be more successful. And they're doing it for free at the moment. If you do download the program, or if you've watched this program, please go to the iTunes page and leave us a positive review, because every review that you leave us helps us get to a bigger audience. So click on view in iTunes. You'll find that on our website. Then just go along to ratings and reviews. You've probably seen that on your iTunes page. Click on ratings and reviews for Business Connections Live. and then write a review just there. Now this a nice one, something like Steve Hine, really love that guy, 5-star review. Steve Mills is absolutely brilliant, found all the shows fantastic. Something worthwhile would be fantastic. A lovely review. And you know what, if you feel that the shows aren't that great, well then say that as well. Any response is better than no response. So let us know what you think. Have you got a question on the shows you'd like to see? Simply do that on iTunes, and if you wish, also do, tweet us, email us, contact us. I'll give you the details. You can email us here at studio@businessconnectionslive.com. There is the very email address on your screen. Talk to myself or Linda Bazan, 01784 256 777. Ask her what she knows about post-Brexit due diligence and also GDPR. She knows everything. You can have a word with her about that. Follow our stream of consciousness as well at BCL Business TV. She says to me, another promotion for me this week. And if you want, you can also go along to our Facebook page and watch all the programs and leave comments and questions there as well. Thank you very much indeed, but really appreciate you doing this. Probably the UK, not probably, we are definitely the UK's leading online free to air business TV channel, and it's good to have your company with us each and every Monday where we go live at 12 noon. And the programs cover everything from LinkedIn, Facebook, fundraising, sales technique, you name it. I think we've got a bit of an influx. We've got quite a few LinkedIn programs coming up in the next couple of weeks, which will be fantastic, which you're not part of.
No, never mind. Another time, Steve.
I'm only teasing. All right, we've talked about that, and we seem to have worked our way through the sponsored in-mail. Yeah. Just in one sentence then, worth doing?
Yeah, well, certainly worth testing. I'm always a big believer in testing marketing. You know, I always say to people quite tongue-in-cheek, don't listen to people like me, test it. You know, see if it works for you, and if it does, do more of it. You know, you can test this for 50 quid. You know, 50 quid, 100 emails, and see what response you get, and then work out what you need to do in order to improve that response, and constantly look at each element, from the target market to the content of the email, to the landing page, to the video on the landing page, to the follow-up. You mentioned one thing, Steve, that I don't think I quite got to answer, was you spoke about the landing page and how to improve conversions. One of the things that I'm a big believer in is getting people to sign up to something on that landing page. So often I would offer something free, a free report, or my effective headline report, something like that, and so I get their names, and that goes into Infusionsoft, and then Infusionsoft tells me to follow them up, and so on and so forth. So it's like an ongoing process. You know, it's probably a 6-step process, and if any one of those is not working as well as it could, then the whole thing doesn't achieve what I call maximisation.
Final question on that topic then. How important to your business is LinkedIn marketing and B2B business creation?
Well, we're only a small business. You know, we employ 3 people. And last year, LinkedIn, we won about 100 grand from LinkedIn. So, you know, if I ran a business employing, I don't know, let's say 100 people, that would be several £million. You know, and that's the truth. That's the absolute truth. Gemma, who works for me, working with our clients, she actually does the social media for our clients. The other day, she got an order for a client of £2 million. It's the best we've ever done. But it was a contact on LinkedIn, and the clients fed back to us that contact, which we've been marketing to over a period of time, has just turned into a £2 million order. Now, just to clarify, it wasn't that she posted something on LinkedIn.
By the way, would you like this product? It's going to cost you £2 million. Yes, please.
And then offered them to. but that was the intro. That's how they came into that company's world. They then developed the relationship, like you should, picking up the phone, keeping going with those emails, and so on and so forth. And it's just turned into a £2 million order.
All right, then let's look at premium then. Premium members, listen and note, what's going to change on premium at the moment? There was another question. How does sponsored in-mail differ from your normal in-mail? LinkedIn?
Well, the
Are they
main...
going to take one away?
No, not that I'm aware of yet anyway. So the normal in-mail is when you're a premium member, they give you a very limited number of in-mails. With the new in-mail marketing, the number is unlimited. So I could be sending out 1,000 emails every day to people that I don't know through LinkedIn. So that's the big difference.
When this kicks in, do you think it's going to devalue the platform?
You know, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's sort of enabling me to, in a way, I hate to use the word, but spam people. I'm sending emails to people who have not opted in to me. They're not my LinkedIn contacts even. They're, you know, if I wanted to, you know, I occasionally get asked to go to Dubai, or I'm in Kuala Lumpur in the next couple of months doing some work over there. So if I wanted to, you know, decided, right, okay, I'm going to really try and get more work in Dubai, I could go and target, you know, business owners who work for businesses of this size in these specific industries in Dubai, and I can start sending those guys in-mails through LinkedIn. So they're people who don't currently know me, like me, or trust me at any level. They've never heard of me, probably. And so it's a valid point, Steve. I don't know.
All right then. Well, let's talk about this, if you can. I mean, what are there differences downstream for premium users?
Yeah, again, you know, it keeps changing, doesn't it? You know, I mean, what's happening with premium is they seem to be moving it more towards selling the sales side of it than the 3 levels that we've got now. Things are being removed. I actually think some of what I'd call the free stuff on LinkedIn, you know, the stuff that we're able to do on our profile, it's actually worse in my opinion.
What, for instance?
And the feedback I'm getting, well, the whole layout of the profile, I don't think it's as good as it is now. And the feedback I'm getting from people who have currently got the new profile is not great. They're not very happy with it. And people, you know, are generally, I don't think that happy with LinkedIn. Are actually taking away some of the things that we can do. For example, the tagging of people is not going to. You can still do it, but it's not going to be as easy. Not going to be as simple to be able to group people together. Let's say, for example, a group of clients together. It's not going to be as easy for us to do that. So they are taking away some of the technology that we've currently got. So that's probably a negative thing, but you know, it is what it is.
And are they giving anything, or is it a case that it's becoming more of a paid-for service?
Yeah. I think so, Steve. In the same way that Facebook is now. You know, you can go onto Facebook and you can get loads of people to like you, and you can go onto your profile and post things out. But the real truth of the matter with Facebook is that the money is being made through the marketing side of Facebook, the pay-per-click advertising, the retargeting. That's the side of Facebook where businesses are making the money, and it's going to be more of that on LinkedIn too.
All right, listen, we're nearly out of time, and I feel like we've just scratched the surface as always. If I may be so bold, the key takeaways that we need today from you about where we're going, and really about how to use in-mail marketing, what to look out for in the future when it comes to LinkedIn, and also maybe one piece of advice that sort of says how we should be prepared for the changes that are around the corner. Would you do that for us?
Yeah, sure.
Straight down camera number one. As always, say who you are, where you're from, and the airways, Steve, are all yours.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Yep, Steve Mills here, the Prudent Marketer from the Prudent Marketing Company. That's www.theprudentmarketer.com. My number one tip for you really on LinkedIn advertising or LinkedIn email marketing would be to do it. I know that sounds very simple, but you know, we don't know whether this is going to work for you or not. But you can try this with very little money, very little expertise, and we can give it a try. We can test it for just less than £100. So, you know, give it a go. Give LinkedIn in-mail marketing a try. You probably need further information than you've picked up today, because time's a factor, and we want to do this as well as we can. So if you want to come along to one of my workshops, that would be great. If you've not got time or you're not in this area, then go to somebody's workshop, or even go to LinkedIn and ask them how to do this. That's the way forward, and that's what's going to really help you to build what I'd call an additional income stream onto your business. Whatever you're doing now in terms of marketing, this is a new way of creating income and sales in your business.
And that ultimately is what we are all looking for at the moment. We just want to increase those sales and be more successful. Can you still use LinkedIn as it was originally intended, as a recruitment platform?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. And and lots of people do it. It's still one of the biggest recruitment websites in the world. I was talking before we came on air to your. You've got Ben who's in as a work experience, and I was telling him, a young man, and I was telling him when he's ready to leave college, he needs to have a LinkedIn database already set up, so that when the day comes, he's passed his exams and everything, he can go onto LinkedIn and say, hi, I'm Ben, I've just qualified, I've got this qualification, and I'm looking for a job in this industry, and he can pump that out to all his, hopefully by then, thousands of LinkedIn business owner contacts, and get a job through LinkedIn.
Ben, I hope you're listening to that good advice, and you're going to be doing that this afternoon. That's going to be part of your work experience today, to get your LinkedIn profile all set up. And I suppose the final thing then, if you are new to LinkedIn, if you're not using LinkedIn at the moment, make certain that your profile, can we just before we go, can we just see your profile for a moment?
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
The profile is probably the single most important part of your LinkedIn presence that's actually there at the moment. Here we go. So the thing that's important about this is, I would say, picture's important.
Yep, very.
Business-like picture.
Yep.
This isn't Facebook. Don't be putting one up there with you and the kids, or your face in the sand, or a nice holiday sap. You want a nice professional business head and shoulders.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the headlines? Steve Mills, the Prudent Marketeer. My aim is to help my clients. Many people will put up there all sorts of old baloney, won't they?
Yeah.
But you've got everything in your headline.
Yeah, it tells people exactly what I do. What you don't want is Steve Mills, Managing Director at Xeon Limited, where you have no clue who Xeon are or what Steve Mills does. So I want to make it really easy. Even add my telephone number. I want to make it so easy to contact me.
Be careful though when you are mucking around with those particular headlines, because they keep changing the rules, and sometimes you go back, you edit your headline, and they won't let you.
Yeah.
So just be aware if you've got a reasonable headline. Let's just move down the profile a little bit more, because this is really important, I think. So here we go. You've included posts and videos, very important there.
Indeed, yeah.
And we'll go down. And your summary. How important is a summary, Steve?
I think it's absolutely essential, and not only from a point of view of people reading it, which is clearly important, but also by adding keywords in there, I can get found easier. When people are doing a search up here on LinkedIn, the fact that I've got words, you can see here probably, email marketing, blogging, remarketing, business advice, and so on and so forth, within my words on my profile. That's what that's about. That's why I've got that in there, so people can find me easier on LinkedIn.
It's got to be found easier, and you've got to be using LinkedIn if you're looking for B2B, and there are those changes coming along. And do watch out for the retargeting of advertising, which will be landing very shortly. A bit like the Google one, but now on LinkedIn, so it's going to follow you around all over the place. Listen, Steve, as always, been an absolute pleasure having you on the program.
It's been a pleasure.
I don't know where the hour has gone.
No, it always goes so quickly.
It flies by.
Yeah.
And and Steve really is one of our Business Connections Live experts, so our thanks to him for coming in on the program today. And the nice thing about having Steve on the program, I mean, Steve and myself now have become friends through the program. He comes in, we invite him along to the Christmas parties, and we'll even have a glass of wine together. But that's what this is all about. It's about sharing content. It's about sharing information. And I'm sure I'm not going to offend Steve right now by saying next week, are you familiar with James Potter?
Yes, I know the name. Yeah.
He calls himself the LinkedIn man.
Oh, does he?
So it's
Right,
more
okay.
LinkedIn next week,
Okay,
but it's
right, great.
different view,
Yeah.
different perspective, and different ideas. Steve is very clear in what he does and has done it very successfully with the Prudent Marketeer, or as the Prudent Marketeer. What he does is, I mean, I've been on Steve's LinkedIn training courses and they are truly exceptional. That sounds like a testimonial, but they are really worthwhile going, particularly if you're going in cold and you don't really know what is achievable out there. Chances are you'll go on one of the courses, you'll come away and you'll do none of it. But maybe you'll do just one thing from it. And that one thing is 100% improvement on what you're probably doing already. Next week, we get a different perspective. We've got James Potter. He's the LinkedIn man. He's going to be joining us here on the program. We'll be looking more at the things that are just down the line. And also, once again, another perspective on how you can maximize your return on business-to-business marketing when it comes to using LinkedIn. Coming up on future programs, we've got Tom Evans. He's the author of Practical Mindfulness. Nigel Risner, the motivational speaker of note. Familiar with Nigel?
Yeah. No,
Fantastic guy.
Yeah,
meant to be on the show a little bit earlier on the year, wasn't very well, getting a lot better now for those people that care. Nigel on the show very shortly. Deborah Hume, Ali Crump from A Drive Tech going to be back on the program. Jackie Jarvis. We've got the fantastic Warren Knight, saw him over Christmas on Sky. Right. He's going to be on the program. And don't forget, if you'd like to be on the show, let us know. Get in touch with us. If you'd like to sponsor the program or you'd like a show just like this for yourself, then get in touch with us as well. But from all the team here at Business Connections Live, till we do it again live next Monday at 12 noon, have a great week. Bye for now. Bye-bye.